Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Menopause Matters Live. And today we are talking about signs of an unhealthy gut that you might be missing. Now, I'm doing this live on Zoom for Facebook and also on Instagram. So I'm looking at two different directions. It's because I am looking at two different cameras. So, signs of an unhealthy gut that you might be missing. Gut health is such a crucial thing. It plays such an important role in our overall well-being, and many symptoms that women experience can be linked to gut issues without you actually realizing it. Many women put up with severe or even just mild symptoms that they think are not a big deal, and they believe they're normal or that they're just part of daily life. We get so used to our gut symptoms that we kind of just turn a blind eye to them and accept them as part of who we are. But they can actually indicate much more. I say serious, it can sometimes be serious, but it can indicate other underlying gut health issues or physical issues, other issues going on in the body that we might not actually connect to the gut. So let's start off by talking about some of the things, the symptoms that you might be noticing that you know are directly related to your gut, but perhaps you're ignoring. So first of all, bloating. Bloating, it can be frequent bloating, especially after meals. That's one of the most common times, but also some women don't bloat straight after meals, and it can be a few hours later. And there's reasons for the timing of that. Excessive or gas is another part of that. It can be a sign of digestive imbalances or bacterial overgrowth. So we have this microbiome in our gut, and it's got a very important purpose. We want to have a healthy microbiome, but there are different types of bacteria, and some of them can be what we call opportunistic, whereby we want them in small amounts, but we don't want them to get too much of a hold. And then there are those that are deemed pathogenic, which we really don't want much of at all. And then there's commensal, which are what some people term friendly bacteria, and they do very good positive things. But again, we want to keep them in balance. Everything needs to be kept in balance. And then there's constipation. The amount of women that I work with who are constipated, and they think it's normal to go to the toilet every 2 or 3 days, or sometimes even once a week. Irregular bowel movements or straining really indicates issues with the gut, and there's lots of reasons why that can be. Again, it can be an imbalance in the gut bacteria. It can be the wrong types of gut bacteria. It can be from lacking in certain minerals like magnesium. It can be from being dehydrated, not drinking enough water. There's lots of reasons why we might be constipated. And if we don't deal with that first and foremost, then nothing detoxes properly from our body. We don't get rid of hormones properly like we should do. And things get recycled that shouldn't be. It's a very unhealthy state. So constipation, if I see that with a client, I'm immediately like, we have to sort that out before we do anything else. And then diarrhea, the opposite end of the spectrum. Frequent or chronic diarrhea is not normal. And if you're constantly having loose bowels, it can be a sign of more serious conditions like IBS or Crohn's. Or it can be an infection. You might have a parasite, or you might have a pathogenic bacteria that's in your gut that you don't know about. Often we pick them up when we go traveling and we just don't realize. We might have a really bad bout of diarrhea, and then because it kind of stops and then it's less frequent, we think that we've got rid of it, but actually we haven't, and it's still there causing problems. Another one is abdominal pain or cramping. Regular pain or cramping is not normal. If you do get regular pain or cramping, especially if it's severe or disrupts your daily activities, that can point to something, more going on in your gut and really needs to be looked at. Heartburn and acid reflux is another one. Persistent heartburn can indicate something called GERD, which is gastro esophageal reflux disease, which is something that really has to be dealt with because the constant acid going up into the esophagus can be very, very damaging and ultimately can lead to cancer. So it's really important that if you do have lots of reflux or something going on, you've got to deal with it. The problem with the medical profession's approach is that no matter what, they give you things that turn off the stomach acid, whether that's PPIs like proton pump inhibitors. You might know the name omeprazole is a common brand name for it. And a lot of women, or a lot of people in general, especially as they get older, they actually have too little stomach acid, and it's other things that are causing the GERD or the reflux. And it's really, really important to get to the bottom of what that is. So working with somebody who works on a more functional approach is really important if you are struggling with that. Then there's things like nausea. You shouldn't be feeling nauseous regularly. Occasionally, if you've eaten something that's hasn't agreed with you is one thing, but regular nausea is not good. A feeling of incomplete evacuation, that again can indicate constipation or other bowel issues. Frequent UTIs. A lot of people don't realize that there's a direct correlation between the gut and vaginal microbiome. And so you can have problems in both related. And so if you're getting regular UTIs, it's important to look at your whole microbiome, rather than just taking antibiotics. Anybody who's had recurrent UTIs and who's been on courses of antibiotics probably knows that they just don't resolve it. They just keep coming back and back and back because you've got to balance that microbiome. You can't just try and kill things off and then everything's sorted. It doesn't work like that. Unexplained weight change as well, sudden or unexplained weight loss or weight gain can be linked to issues with the digestive tract, and metabolism, and it can affect nutrient absorption as well. So that is also, sometimes people will sort their gut out, and where they've been struggling to lose weight, suddenly the weight starts to move. Frequent belching, excessive burping, it can indicate things like swallowing air or insufficiencies in things like digestive enzymes, or even an overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine as well, something we call SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Again, you shouldn't be belching all the time. If you are, that's your body telling you there's something going on. And then food cravings, and actually aversions. So strong cravings for sugar or carbs can be linked to, for example, an overgrowth of certain yeasts. It can also be an indication of an imbalance in gut bacteria that like to thrive on and live on that sugar, and therefore make you crave it more. Of course, cravings for sugar is also linked to blood sugar control issues. So that's some of the things that are directly related to your gut health and symptoms that you might notice. But what about the ones that aren't recognized as issues with your gut health? So, for example, chronic fatigue. Persistent tiredness can be linked to an imbalance in the gut microbiome, something we call gut dysbiosis, where the balance of that good and bad bacteria, for want of better terms, is disrupted. That can contribute to issues with fatigue. Skin problems, things like acne, eczema, rosacea, can be connected to the gut health as well. An imbalanced gut microbiome can lead to inflammation that actually manifests in the skin. If you've got a lot of skin issues, you have to look at your gut health. You can't just look at, the top down. You've got to go inside what's going on in your gut, because your gut, it will show in your skin. Mood swings and anxiety. the gut-brain axis, we have an axis between the brain and the gut. They're constantly talking to each other. And it means that your gut health can influence your mental health. Gut inflammation and imbalance, plus lack of certain neurotransmitters, can lead to mood disorders, to anxiety, and even to depression. And then autoimmune diseases. The amount of people I speak to who have autoimmune diseases that have never been told by their doctor the link between those immune diseases and the gut. There is an absolute direct correlation. Things like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, they're always related in some way to the gut, often through what we call leaky gut, where toxins and foreign bodies can enter the bloodstream through the gut, things that shouldn't be getting through the gut lining into the bloodstream, but do, and can actually trigger an immune response. So if you have autoimmune conditions, you've got to be looking at your gut health. And then hormonal imbalances. The gut plays a role in hormone regulation, and gut dysbiosis, the imbalance of bacteria, can lead to imbalances that cause symptoms like PMS, PCOS, and other menstrual irregularities. And then there's weight gain. I talked about sudden weight gain or sudden weight loss, but unexplained, doesn't have to be sudden. Just unexplained weight gain or loss can be linked to gut health. An unhealthy gut can affect your metabolism, your nutrient absorption, and that can in turn lead to weight issues. And then chronic inflammation. Many people don't realize the chronic inflammation, which can cause joint pain, muscle pain, and fatigue, can actually originate in your gut from gut health problems. Frequent infections. So a significant portion of your immune system resides in your gut. The estimate is kind of like 70 to 80% of your immune system is actually located in the gut. So an imbalanced gut can weaken your immune response, leading to things like frequent infections, frequent colds, yeast infections, UTIs, etc. So you can see this kind of how everything is tied up, everything's linked in the body, nothing works in silo. Bad breath, persistent bad breath. People think that it just comes from the mouth. It doesn't. It can be linked to gut health too, especially things like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth that I spoke about earlier. That can cause an issue. If you've got, issues with your digestive tract, they can, result in bad breath. And then finally, sleep disturbances, poor sleep, quality or quantity, insomnia, can be related to gut health, given the gut's role in producing neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that helps to regulate sleep as part of what it does. It's also known for kind of keeping our mood elevated, but it's also very important for sleep regulation. And then GABA, which is a very important neurotransmitter for helping to keep us calm and steady. So if we have got imbalanced gut and we're not producing those neurotransmitters, it can affect our sleep and it can affect our moods and, lead to levels of anxiety, for example. So as you can see, there is a lot that goes on with gut health. And it's not just about the gut symptoms, it's what else is your imbalanced gut doing to the rest of your body and what's it contributing to with other symptoms. I think it's really, really important. Inside Revitalize Your Menopause, my 6-month program, there is a big gut health focus. It's one of my pillars, my 4 pillars of menopause health. We first of all look at your gut health with the detailed health questionnaire that you complete when you start. And anything that shows up, there's actually 5 different sections on gut health, and anything that shows up there, I will be taking notice of and talking to you about when we do our one-to-one consultation. And as you go through the program, when you're going through the educational content that kind of supports the one-to-one work, there's a whole module on gut health. So we're constantly looking at it as we go through. It forms part of your protocol. And then for others who have got perhaps very clear issues with their gut and we really need to dig into it, there is also stool testing. So depending on which level of the program you do, you can either include it or you can do it as an add-on. And stool testing, the test I use is very, very different to the GP's test. GPs are looking for disease. That's what their job is, to find disease if there is any actual disease. So things like Crohn's, diverticulitis, things like that. But with the testing that I do, we're looking at function and balance. So we're looking at things that the GP won't be looking at. And the test that I run looks at your stool for microorganisms, including your good and bad gut bacteria. It looks at the commensal bacteria and the balance between all the different bacteria, but also it's looking for opportunistic or pathogenic, pathogenic meaning that when they're too much out of balance, they can actually cause disease. So we're looking for those pathogenic viruses, bacteria, parasites, often come up that, people don't realize they've got, really freaks people out, but, you can deal with them if you know what to do. It also provides us information about your overall immune function. How strong is your immune function? What's the integrity of your gut lining? Do you have leaky gut? Is there inflammation? Are you absorbing properly? Are you absorbing proteins properly? Are you absorbing fats properly? Are you producing enough digestive enzymes? All of these things are looked at in the stool test that I run. It's very, very helpful for people if they're struggling with acne, psoriasis, other skin problems. I struggled with psoriasis when I was younger. It's an autoimmune condition, it's hereditary, and my mum has it. And I don't have any symptoms now because I dealt with the root cause, which was coming from my gut. So it's really good if you've got any autoimmune diseases. I really strongly recommend that you do this test if you do, because you really want to know what's going on with your gut. Brain fog, diabetes, digestive issues, things like bloating, unexplained bloating, constipation, or diarrhea, IBS or even IBD, irritable bowel disease, fatigue, mood disorders like depression and anxiety, and weight loss or weight gain. They're all the things that if you've got those going on, it's really recommended to do a detailed gut test to see what is going on in your gut. If you're interested in running your own stool test with expert analysis and guidance straight, afterwards, then just drop me a message and I will, we can chat further and I can explain how that works. If you've got stuff going on and you want to know what that looks like, then let me know. If you have any questions about what I've covered today, or specific questions related to gut health, then just drop me a message. You can comment, or wherever you're watching this, you can drop me a DM if you're watching it on, say, Instagram or Facebook, or you can email me support@vvital.com, which is VEEVITAL.com. And if you are struggling with fatigue, low moods, loss of motivation, and you haven't watched my masterclass called How to Recover Your Energy and Motivation During Menopause, you really should watch that. It's free to watch. All you need to do is comment masterclass or DM me masterclass, or even email me masterclass, and I or one of the team will get that link over to you so that you can watch that. Everyone that watches it says that they learn a ton of new stuff that they didn't know before, because I'm talking about things that most people aren't talking about when it comes to fatigue and moods, low moods, etc. And that's it. I think I've covered a lot today, but if you've got questions, please do ask. And I hope that was helpful. and I will see you next week on Menopause Matters Live. All right, take care. Bye for now.